Yeah, my bad. I had to cut the video off real quick, but just getting right back into it, So from the Moorish thing, we we got denationalized. We don't have no as black people, we don't have no language, no true nationality identity. We just kind of out here bold. We just wards basically, like wards. And but getting into that, they come with the law perspective, which was so practical. A lot of people talk this and talk that and all spirituality and Egyptian mystery systems and but tell me how to do a spell. You quoting Tahuti about the mind science and all the they was able to levitate and blocks how they built the pyramids, blah. But you not a magician, you not a sorcerer. You show me some occultism power that you got. People just be talking good, but what am I getting out of this? Something Rashid said. Hey Rashid, in the intro to Kabbalah, if your belief system or spiritual system is not doing anything to improve your situation in life, your immediate situation, you gotta let that shit go. Beyond just I go to church and now I leave church and now I feel good. My spirit's uplifted. We ain't just talking about that. How's this been producing, increasing your income, making your health better? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. It gotta be doing something for your immediate situation. If it's not, it ain't really doing nothing for you. But it was very practical. I had always, I liked business. Just I've always, with the math thing again, that's just real left brain stuff. So studying law, it was just so natural to me. It just came natural, and it lined up so perfectly with all the spiritual stuff that I had been into and whatnot. So I was on that hardcore for a while. Also learning the histories and everything. It was a lot to learn with that. Everybody who's called themselves a Moor, studying the Moor stuff, isn't necessarily down with the Moorish Science Temple and Noble Drew Ali and calling him a prophet. To me, that's just another religious thing. Me. So to me, a lot of people, the temple is the church and Noble Drew Ali is Jesus. That you basically just got you a new black Jesus who existed in the 20th century, but you going about stuff the same way a lot of other people do, which is not independently thinking, just kind of accepting stuff, going along to get along and whatnot. So, but it was a lot of deep stuff I got with the Moorish information and just learning that history. Okay, yeah, black people, we was this. Oh, it was black Muslims who was running stuff. We actually had white people as slaves. All we know is slavery. We were slaves. We had them as slaves in Europe. Um, just something so interesting to know. A lot of people don't talk about this, but to say Columbus came to America in 1492, very coincidental that 1492 is the same year that the Moors got expelled out of Spain. So it wasn't just, let's just go venture off into the world and see what we could find. Nah, we had these black people here who was running ours, who was over us for a long time. We finally got them gone, but that ain't enough. I want to go to where they going to now and where they at, and we gonna take that over. You know what I mean? So quite the coincidence. 1492, Moors expelled from Spain, and Columbus do his thing in America. So just interesting to know. But so yeah, just moving forward with that and stuff at this point is all a lot of information just coming full circle. It's really coming full circle with the Moorish science, masonry. All the masonry stuff come from Moors. The Hermetic, Kabbalah, occultism, ceremonial magic, understanding magic, and you being an influencer of events, you having that power to make things happen around you. I mean, I really could go so in depth about Kabbalah and the Hermetics and the Western science. But then I came across something extremely powerful, and I think this might even been before the Moore stuff. My timeline ain't might not necessarily be perfect because this is all of this is over a span of 7 years. But I began to learn Gnosticism, the religion of Illuminism, Gnosticism, and Gnostic principles. Now these tie in with the Kabbalah. Kabbalah can be viewed as Gnostic, but this took it to a whole nother level. This was like, when I was reading this information, I felt like I was getting indoctrinated, like something was being downloaded into my brain. That's how hardcore this information was, as they call it, the exploration of pure reason. It was 100% math based, 100% logic based, but they didn't arrive at the same conclusion as a typical like university scientist. Like, oh, I'm just all about math and science, and I'm an atheist. Nothing, all of it, there's no God, there's no nothing beyond what we can see. Which is that way of thinking is called scientific materialism. You only acknowledge what can be uh, noted with the senses, the five senses. If I can't hear it, see it, taste it, smell it, touch it, it ain't real. No such thing as spirit, astral realm, ethereal, nothing, right? So they didn't arrive at that conclusion. But I mean, this is some of the most powerful stuff I ever read. It completely flipped the script on how I saw a lot of things. In my last year of college, I took a philosophy class. Um, I learned about all the popular, famous philosophers. These people who with the Gnosticism on this website that I found, right? The website don't even exist no more. They took it down. It actually is a way. I do got a way that you can get to all the articles and information that they had, but officially the website don't exist no more. They killed it off last year. These people knew about all the philosophers. They knew about very high intense levels of math. I did engineering in college, right? So I went a lot farther in math than most people will ever go. And these people were talking, it takes one to know one. And I'm seeing the equations and the type of math y'all doing, and it takes somebody who's done that before to be able to say, okay, I know we on the same level here when it comes to that type of information. Average person gonna look at that and be like, what is that? I don't know what that is. You have to find another engineer or scientist or physicist or somebody who can look at that and be like, oh, okay, that lets me know what type of level you operating on, the type of work that you put in, right? So I had a lot of respect for what they were presenting. Also in the philosophy, because they was talking about stuff that I did in that class. I had an understanding of philosophers and their different viewpoints. David Hume, Nietzsche, Schopenhauer, right? These people, I knew who they were because I took that class and they speaking on them. So okay, now this information coming together. If I had never took that class, I might not know nothing about that and wouldn't be able to compare. But the philosophy that they presented was it was just so much different from anything I ever heard. The Gnostic philosophy made modern, um, the concept of the demiurge, and this is where a lot of people gonna disagree with me. People call it devil worship or whatever, but the idea that you looking in the Eden story of the Bible, in many ways Lucifer did humanity a favor. He was actually the good guy. And Yahweh, Jehovah, was the tyrant God, the evil God who was against his own creation. Man, that's boy. It's a whole nother way to look at it, right? That ain't what we all taught. That ain't how it's presented to us. But when you really start getting into it as an independent thinker and you see how they broke this down, these Gnostic concepts, it could switch everything up for you. Look up the demiurge if you're interested in that. Who is the demiurge? What is the demiurge? What does he do? Right? Yahweh wants control. He wants to control everything, and Lucifer represents intelligent thought. But the intelligent thought creates chaos. It can create chaos, and not necessarily in a bad way. Just order and chaos. From chaos will come order, and order creates chaos too. It's just a natural cycle. It ain't like it's good and bad. Always thinking in terms of things of good and evil or good and bad. It ain't good and bad. It's just a natural cycle. Just like forest fires. Forest fires are naturally occurring events. People say, "Oh, that's bad. The forest is burning." Yeah, maybe like out in California they get those wildfires. That ain't might not be so natural, but to that degree. But forest fires are naturally occurring though, and it burns the wood, it burns things, it breaks it down. Things get purified, and then it grows back. It grows back better, right? So for the forest to catch on fire, people say, "Oh, that's bad," but no, it's just a natural current event, right? So this is the same kind of idea when you're thinking about cycles. But I got so deep into that. I mean, that was like wow. It was so many different. It was levels to it. It's still levels to it. Um, the name of the website was Armageddon Conspiracy, and they actually have a book series, the God series. It's like 40 books. It might even be more than that. And I only got one, the first one, but this is for true next level thinkers. Like this ain't for everybody. But you could check it out. The author's name is Mike Hockney, which is not his real name. It's a pseudonym, anonymous name that they write under. It's multiple writers, and they write under this false name, Mike Hockney, and also Adam Weishaupt, who founded the Illuminati in 1776. They write under that name too, and I believe it's a third name. But yeah, I mean, that gave me a paradigm shift. Like, I don't want to say deeper or stronger than the others, than all the others. I mean, they all play an important role in my development and my advancement from the messianic stuff to the Eastern religions, Taoism, Buddhism, to the Egyptian thing, the ancient African science, Western occultism and magic and Hermetics Kabbalah, Moorish stuff, how Masonry ties in with all of that, combined all of that science. But then really get into the philosophy though with the Gnosticism, um, and modern day thinking. And this was at a time too where it was a lot of conspiracy theories about so much stuff, reptilians and everybody, aliens and Anunnakis, and you're really a Naga serpent, and if you raise your Kundalini, you'll turn into a reptile, or just all types of stuff, lizards and this and that. The Queen of England is actually a lizard. I mean, it's a lot of stuff over the years people put out, but yeah, I suggest for true independent thinkers, true, people who got balance and can think with the left and right brain, look up Mike Hockney in those books. You'll learn. I mean, man, it's all encompassing. And even now, I don't accept that as like the absolute viewpoint or perspective, but it shifted me. It shifted me hardcore into getting out of some stuff that I will admit was kind of nonsensical, right? So just moving forward even more at this point now, with all of that combined, all the diligent research I've done, people I've talked to, and knowledge coming full circle. Um, I've come to realize too, though, that with all the magic and occultism, and basically at the end of the day, the most empowering thing you can do is just you ain't got to lead a mass movement or whatever. You just got to take control of your own life, bring the prosperity into your own life for you and your family that you need to see through your understanding of the elementals and the spirits and understand how to work with nature. You can't beat nature. You can't go against it. So your best option is to learn how nature works and then get in harmony with it so you can receive the blessings from it, right? That's pretty much at the root of all spirituality. So, but I'm gonna just be real though, with the Kabbalah and the Hermeticism and all the esoteric Judaism and the Western thinking. I mean, that's really like it's like the white people science, it's like the white people magic. And it never resonated with me fully, I'm from America. I went to PWI, public school, Michigan State, so all these institutions set you up to think like a white person because that's who controls the country. That's who set all of this up, So I'm kind of thinking like how y'all think, and I'm getting into y'all systems, masonry. But I've since got back, as far as it relates to occultism and magic and ritual work and things like that. The ATR, the African traditional religions, um, Voodoo, Palo Mayombe, Palo Kambisa, Santeria, Obia, Ifa, right? That kind of stuff. And, that's occultism as well, as you can say, but as some people call this old world, the way they going about doing it, the spirits that they revere, um, how the spells work and how everything works, the ideology of it overall. It's a document I came across from one of those Mike Hockney people. It's a bunch of them on Twitter. None of them show their real face, but you can interact with them on Twitter. She posted a Kabbalistic document, right? It's called the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram. So it's a ceremonial magical ritual. Banishing ritual, just like to clear the space around you. And powerful document. It was only 12 pages long, but I mean, it had some powerful, deep information in that I was reading. And it was one part in the footnotes where it said, straight up, the author said, this ritual is best suited for the natural psychological makeup of the white races. So basically, he admitting right here, saying straight up, admitting it. There's a difference between in the natural psychological makeup of a white person and a non-white person. We ain't all on that. Oh, we just human right now. We ain't all exactly the same. Your DNA, your blood, and that it does play an effect on your outlook, how you see the world, and things like that. So, and I always kind of felt that way myself. Learning about the Western stuff and occultism, or whatever. The people that's revered in it, people, Dion Fortune, John Dee, Aleister Crowley, Madame Blavatsky, all of these people. And it's like, all these white people, I ain't got a problem with white people, but I'm black. I embraced my African roots, my African traditions with the Moorish stuff, with the, when I was in the heat, doing the Egyptian stuff. This why I didn't always resonate with the Messianic after so long. I want to get into my African stuff. I don't want all my idols and everybody who I revere and all the people who I look up to just be white people. What about my black ancestors? You know what I'm saying? I know they was doing something. All the spiritual science come from Africa anyway. There is no spiritual system that originated in Europe. It ain't. I mean, you could go to the Vikings and they're the Norse gods and all that. They religions, but nobody had no real powerful, true spiritual system that's still standing today, or that's still has any relevance today that originated in Europe. I mean, it just is what it is. Ain't nothing come from there. So that was just one thing. Like I felt like I'm kind of these ain't the people who I'm trying to look up to. So, and modern, for me now, I'm real into the ATR. I'm actually working. I mean, I got to see what I can pull off, but I'm actually trying to be initiated into um, one of the ATR systems, Apollo, with a good brother. I would have to make my move to Georgia. We're going to see about that. I just moved to Texas not even a year and a half ago from Michigan. So that would be another real big move to kind of turn right back around and do. But hey, we'll see what happens. But um, yeah, I mean, that's kind of most of it from where I started to where I am now. I mean, I can definitely think of some specifics I kind of didn't touch on or I skipped out on. But once again, this was just a composite over the past 7 years um, of everything, the levels that I've grown through, how my mind has been altered and has developed and grown. Um, Again, though, man, that Gnostic stuff, man, it ain't for everybody. Some people like the Abrahamic religions, the Abrahamic faiths, but it's a lot to be said about that. That stuff is deep, man. Like where I'm at now, I don't look at the Bible as a 100% true and accurate book. Like everything in there is true. At one point in time, I did feel that way. I don't anymore. But I would never say that there is no truth in there. I would never say that there is no wisdom in there, that you can't learn nothing from it. You can. And it's also, it's crazy how things can be viewed, from so many different perspectives. I mean, the power of symbolism and allegory. Something they say in masonry, like, for everybody to say, a picture's worth 1,000 words, but a symbol is worth 1,000 pictures. If symbols rule the world, imagery, the power of symbolism, um, and imagery. And even before we had internet and cameras and all this stuff, you see the power of the myths. But the Bible is a book of myths. But myths, the myths are storytelling, and storytelling is the original imagery. The form of imagery. We tell the story, you create the image in your mind. That's why most movies originate as books first, right? So, um, yeah, but I think I'm gonna probably close it out here again. I could have said more. I could have went into more detail with philosophy and the Gnostic stuff, and even with the Egyptian stuff. I mean, I spent years of time going over different things, and learning other perspectives, synthesizing. That's one thing I got from the Armageddon conspiracy. The Mike Hockney people understanding thesis, antithesis. They come together to make a synthesis, but then the synthesis becomes a new thesis for a new antithesis, new synthesis, and so on and so on, and it continues to go, and that's called the dialectic. And the dialectic leads you to the omega point, which is the point where all possible theses and antitheses have collided and clashed, created what will come from it, and continuously evolving and improving until it gets to that perfect point, the omega point. Just another mathematical concept. I mean, you could think about it like in March Madness. If you watch college basketball, I mean, that's what it is. You got a bracket, right? 64 teams. So this team play this team, and boom, and this team play this team, and boom, and then it's just keep clamping down and clamping down. This team play this team, and boom, 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 all the way until you get to the championship. And then this one, the last thesis and the last antithesis clash. Whoever wins, wins. And that team winning the championship is the omega point, and then the season is over. That's like another principle from Phil Valentine. Perfection is death. In the Eden story, the humans had to fall. That story had to happen. The way it happened, it had to happen. Because if it wouldn't happen, Adam and Eve would have just been walking around perfect. You're a perfect human. You have nothing to work towards. You have no obstacles to overcome. You have nothing to aspire towards. Everything just perfect all the time. And now, what's my existence for living? Perfection is death, right? So you had to fall. You had to retract so that you could learn. You could so you could now fight your way back up to that level. Again, that's going into some more philosophy with that. There's a lot to be said about that story. I don't believe it to be true history. I don't believe that's how the world started, Adam and Eve and a snake and blah, blah, blah. But even though I see it as a myth, I do acknowledge the great levels of wisdom of the myth, of the allegory. It explains a lot and incorporates a lot of principles, so, but, yeah, man, I think I'm going to just end this right here, though. Hey, really my first video I'm putting out there. If anybody got any questions, you want to talk to me about something specific, you want to learn more about the Gnostic stuff, I go hard with this stuff. I go hard. Been going hard for some years. You know what I'm saying? Get deep with it. If you want a certain spiritual path, or you heard me mention something that you kind of into, but you want to know more about, want to know what to look at, where to get the Mike Hockney stuff, the Michael Rule stuff. You want to get into the Hebrew translation, Greek, Hebrew concordance, whatever it may be. You want to know about Masonry? I became a Mason this year, end of July, a Master Mason. Whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? You can get with me, leave a comment, whatever. I'll leave the comments open. Sometimes I'm a little afraid to do that because I know how people be on YouTube with the comments and bickering and whatever, but I'll leave them open. So yeah, man, this was my personal journey through consciousness. I hope you got something from it. If you watched the whole thing from start to finish, part 1 and 2, I appreciate you. I appreciate you a lot. So yeah, it is what it is. Holla at me if you want to know something else. Talk to me about something. Signing off.